You probably landed on this page because you are one of the thousands of people who suffer from rheumatoid arthritis and the fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue that usually accompany the disease. You may be taking prescription drugs whose side effects are sometimes worse than the disease itself. You may be aware that RA is an autoimmune disease and would like to know more about the immune system and how it relates to your RA. Hi, my name is Lorraine Moody. First of all, let me start by saying that I am not a doctor or scientist, and I'm certainly not here to tell you to ignore your doctor's advice or quit taking the medications that he or she has prescribed. What I would like to do is talk to you about the immune system as it relates to rheumatoid arthritis. But first, let me tell you a little story. Long ago and far away, some little people from a far-off land were looking for a place to settle down, start a community, and raise their families. After much searching, they finally settled on a beautiful area perched on a steep cliff facing to the west. The sunsets were gorgeous, and every day after their evening meal, the people would gather up their children and go to the cliff to watch the sunset. Unfortunately, every once in a while, one of them would get too close to the edge and tumble into the valley far below, resulting in severe injuries and in some cases even death. This predicament produced a thriving business of emergency personnel, ambulance drivers, doctors, and undertakers, who set themselves up at the bottom of the cliff to treat the injured and transport them to the hospital or to the morgue. The system worked quite well for some time, and as you may well imagine, doctors, other treatment providers, undertakers, and drug manufacturers were kept busy and were getting very rich. But eventually, it got to be quite overwhelming for the little folks, not to mention very costly. They were in a quandary as to how to remedy the situation, and were even thinking about leaving their beloved village to settle in a new, safer location. Finally, one particularly intelligent little fellow, after much research and heavy thinking, came up with a bright idea. Why don't we build a fence at the edge of the cliff to keep people from falling off? Seems obvious, doesn't it? So it is with autoimmune diseases such as rheumatoid arthritis. Our present health care, or as it is sometimes called, sick care system, is focused on treating the symptoms rather than getting to the underlying cause of the problem. RA is an autoimmune disease in which the immune system attacks the synovial joint, causing pain, swelling, and in some cases edema or water collection in the joint. To treat the disease, medical doctors prescribe steroids such as cortisone, prednisone, or methotrexate. These are immunosuppressant drugs. In other words, they suppress the immune system, which not only affects the progress of the RA, but also interferes with the ability of the immune system to protect you from other diseases. Additionally, these drugs can have debilitating side effects. Natural remedies consist of probiotics, anti-inflammatories in the form of essential fatty acids, fish oil, and omegas, various vitamins and herbs, and even foods found on your grocer's shelf. One thing all the above remedies have in common is that they all treat the symptoms and not the root of the problem, which is a compromised immune system. They pick up the bodies after they go over the cliff, instead of building a fence to keep them from falling in the first place. Well, I have good news for you. I can help you build that fence. Please start by entering your name and email address on this page to receive my free report on the immune system, how it works, and why it breaks down. Thank you very much for listening, and now please read this important disclaimer.